Well, when I used to be a black metal musician. I did play lots of different stuff, but for many years I was a metal musician. I was a drummer, and I wrote music as well. I've always, since I was a child. I really don't like playing other people's music, and never have. Will probably never do that either. So I've always had this drive to create. I need to create. And I come from a country that have, sadly, they have forgotten their roots. We have forgotten our roots. And so at some point, my interest for these things is something I've carried with me ever since I was a child. Because I had a father who told many stories about history, about the old culture. Would take me to historical places and etc. So my interest for it was there, and at some point I got interested in the more practical, esoteric part of my tradition, such as runes and yeah, basically magic. And this grew deeper and deeper, and the need to I really felt that something was missing, because in Norway there were nobody sort of taking in this history, these tools, this wisdom with both hands, and sort of interpreting them on their own premises, rather than just dabbling with the lyrical themes or like we have folk music that sort of dabbles with the themes, but never really digging into it, and also world music. So I really, and I could hear the music, and the need to basically start doing this. And yeah, like I told you, I was a drummer, played some guitar, so I'd never played any of these instruments, never really did much vocals or that sort of stuff. But I started digging in the history for instrument, because that's when the North was christened 1,000 years ago, it was, everything we had was very fragmented. The whole culture was basically ripped apart, and so you find bits and pieces here and there. So that work had to, yeah, I started going into that, and I started coming across these beautiful instruments that I just needed to have in my vision. They just, yeah, I just needed to have. So then the whole process of at that point finding somebody who could build them, because now these things have actually blossomed the last 10 years, the interest for these things. But at that point there were nobody who made them, or maybe like 2 or 3 people. Some of the instruments there are no people making, maybe 1. And so that process. So it was either find someone or basically build it yourself, myself, which I also did. So this is something I started in 2001, I think, 2002. I started making the first recordings with the first instruments, and You know, it's historically, music has always been about something more than just music. And that's the case in Norse tradition as well. It's about as much as about what's behind the music as the music itself. That's just as important. Kind of the same as black metal once was, when it still was an interesting genre before it became technique-based. You have the same with classical music today. It's technique-based. But if you go back, the meaning behind it was incredibly strong. And the same goes with world music, musica mundana, which is the old term for it. And that was basically a term for spiritual music, music with feelings and soul and in it. But today, it's basically, at least in Norway, I can't say what world music is here, but in Norway, world music is jazz camouflaged as yeah, they sort of invite some Sami lady to stand in the back and yoik for some songs, and then it's full-on jazz. Or some African playing the bongos for a bit. But basically, it's lost its original meaning. And so I really wanted to think differently. I wanted to have every stroke on the drum mean something. The number of beats, what beat it is in. Every breath I take, every word carries meaning. And it is something also when speaking about these instruments, because I consider them, working with nature instruments, I consider them they're more alive. They have the will of their own. That's one thing. But also making them. Like for instance, when I made my drums, I did basically everything, but I didn't shoot the animal because I'm no hunter. But I skinned it. I did. I put it in a river to sort of kill the hair sacs. So the fur, because you don't shave it. The old way, it's raw hide basically. So you have to scrape it or pluck all the fur away from the skins. And this is like, you need to do these things every day, or else it will basically rot when you do it this way. And it's stinky and horrible in some ways, but what you realize at some point is what you're actually doing with this process is that, or that's my view, is that slowly you are basically bringing the animal back to life, giving it a new direction, a new voice, and the same goes for all these instruments basically. And I think that consciously or subconsciously, the receiver of my music will know the difference. I could easily cheat. That's no problem. And the same goes. I'm making a trilogy now with where I make music to the runes. And the runes, well, apart from being letters that you can write words with, they're also related to different aspects, such as they can carry the meaning of a secret, of knowledge, of sound, and also each rune carry a symbolic value. So my concept is about interpreting these runes on their own premises. That means
If I'm working with the rune for birch tree, I go in the forest and I play on birch trees. I use the bark for sound, I use the leaves for sound. And I play on torches, I play on stones, I play on water, I play in water, I sing in water. I starve myself. I go to places that carry meaning to what I'm saying, what I want to say, what I want to convey to you, to listen. And like I said, I could easily cheat. But that's something I promised myself when I started, is that I'm gonna stay true to the concept, and I'm gonna not cheat, basically. But that means that it takes this takes a while, and takes a lot of effort and planning, but it's also very giving to work with. It's not like there is no separation between me and Valduna. It is me. It's not something I want to do. It's something I need to do. There is a difference. So everything is a bonus for me. And I think that runes, for me, what this is about is something quite universal. It's about man's relationship to nature, to each other, and to something bigger than yourself, larger than yourself. Which I think, even if you're spiritual or not, is something you relate to. Even if you're young or old, you can relate to that. Even if you're from Africa or Greenland, you can relate to that. So these things are universal. That's why I think that even though you don't understand my words, I do believe that you understand the meaning they carry in some way, consciously or subconsciously. Yeah. A lot of people ask me if, musical genres. You know why we have them? It's for journalists only. So silly. I sometimes get critiqued because, yeah, but you can't know how Viking music sound, and no, that Tagelharpa, that's from 1200s, that's not Viking. But it's for me, it's not about trying to be Vikings again, or the thought that, oh, back in the good old Viking days, everything was so much better. There were assholes then as well. And for me, this is the whole point is something completely different. The whole point is, I always say that with Valduna, I sow new seeds and I strengthen old roots. But the seeds, that's what I say first. Because if you want to make something grow, you can't keep looking behind all the time. Your roots are not necessarily important just because they are your roots. They have to carry meaning today as well. And reenactment is one thing, but I think if I were to do this trying to be authentic to the bone, I could probably do that, but for me it's what I want to convey is that we have so much to learn from our past. We have lost so much. There are so much knowledge just lying in the corner, gathering dust. Nobody knows them. Like in schools in Norway, they actually teach northern mythology in a way that makes it impossible to take serious. It's impossible. They oversimplify. They force things into like cartoonish figures. You know why? Because they don't understand it. Because it's so complicated. Because people back then were much smarter than we are or they had a world view that was much more complicated. Take for instance time. They saw time as a circle. We see time as a line. Try to just think that. Time is a circle, it's not a line. What does that mean? For me, I've been studying these things for many years now, since I was in my early teens, and I still don't understand it. But I understand some. But I know that when people portray it no, we were so primitive, and then thank God for Christianity to come and civilize us. Because before, people were hitting rocks together and just saying, hoo-ah, that's Viking music. No, it's something completely different. It's, but can we actually, for me it's about making something new with something old. So that means that I need to start puzzle things together, because can we actually know how Viking music sounded? Well, some people say no, but I say that that's because they don't have a broad enough view of the sources, because it is very fragmented. We can know a lot. We have a lot of sources from, for instance, poetry. We know that the rhythm of poems, Norse poetry is extremely complicated. I try to write my lyrics of the old poetic meters, and it's a real pain in the ass, to put it bluntly. It's very complicated. But they carry very complex rhythms to them. It's like, and you find a lot of the same rhythms in all the oldest folk music. Like, Skundar teitar skeiðar og skjuma þrumu valdur menn á heitir og synja sá setnat veitu hugast þá aðeim vaða vikingar voða veiði synja vegsteins blaða líman taren til skada hafing vor. So you see, it's not a lot of flat beats, and that's one very specific way of finding out how rhythms work, how poems work rhythmically. And they count it in a different way as well. Modern music theory is it's a long explanation, so I'm not going to go into that. But also we have quite a few instruments. Some of them are very limited in what you can and cannot do on them, which means that basically whatever you do on it will to a certain degree be authentic. So, want to hear some? Yes! I hate you. It has different names, but I call it taglharpa. Tagl, that means horsehair. and that's because the strings are made of horsehair, basically. And according to the lore, the old way of making them, the bow should be from the string should be from a mare, and the bow should be from a stallion, and that's because it is beautiful, isn't it? But it's actually because the mare piss on the tail, which removes the sort of, yeah. So it has a very non-poetic sting to it. All right. Is it distorted? No? Just up here. That's a funny thing with these instruments, is that they have their own will. So if you ever see me on stage sounding like a cow while I'm playing my goat horn, for instance, it's because it's not behaving. It's not intentional. So, this is a goat horn, Ridlaro. It's kind of like it's a very old type of instruments that you've carried in a lot of cultures, and in Norway it's very related to shepherding and to calling. So in many ways you could say that it's sort of the historical cellular phone, because it is about communicating over long distances. Either you are calling your animals home, or they had warning signals, etc. Different, it had lots of different ways of being used. What's interesting, what I find interesting, is that if a horn did not have plain holes on them, then it was about scaring or sending. It was about mainly predators, of course, but also about calling out. But if it had finger holes, it was about luring in, calling the bear, or the wolf, or the spirits, or somebody else. So there is a very, and you can hear it. Try to pay attention to the longing sound in this instrument. And you probably know this, but Scandinavian folk music is quite dark. And a lot of people find it very somber. But we find it very beautiful. Okay. This here little thingy is a Kravig. This is a replica of the oldest string instrument that we have found in Norway. It's from the early 1200s. But you find them in different sizes and shapes. Other places as well, Germany and England. Yeah. It's an instrument you can both strum and do chords like so you can pluck it. In any case, it's a perfect instrument for accompanying a song. And you can choose how you wish to tune it. So,
Another instrument.
Buster. Oh, what's up? Okay, I'm gonna play a song called Rafnagaldur Odins. It means Odin's raven magic. It's a song, it's a poem from, it's a poem that is heavily debated whether or not it should be included in the old Edda poems. So basically they're discussing, having dry discussions about how old it is. I don't think it's personally old enough to be a part of the Edda, but it's a beautiful poem, and the poet definitely knew his Norse mythology, and is actually also referring to myths that we only find in that poem. So, the song is written by my good friend on Iceland, Hilmar Hilmarsson. He wrote it together with Sigur Rós some years ago. And the poem is about, of course, the gods having a party while the world is going under.